Some fans with their terrible towels are in Paul Brown Stadium. Mike Tomlin, he's worked in this city over at the University of Cincinnati. He was an assistant. He said these are the weeks that are easier weeks when there's a little stress and a little conflict. I gotta get my guys on the same page. Marvin Lewis grew up right outside of Pittsburgh, McDonald, Pennsylvania, where he went to high school, and he used to coach in the Steelers staff, so he's very familiar with what this whole deal is all about. Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers offense on the field first. Bengals won the toss. Defer the op to the second half. So James Harrison gets his first shot ever at the Steelers in a game that counts. This is the opening game at home for the Bengals. And Mike Nugent kicks to Felix Jones. Off we go from Cincinnati. The former Cowboy Jones on the return. And Felix Jones got some terrific blocking and just couldn't get past it. Out to the 35. If Michael Palmer could have got some push, he may have gone even deeper. Here comes the Steelers offense led by the two-time Super Bowl champion, Ben Roethlisberger. Isaac Redman at running back. You'll see three different guys, three receivers. Tight ends David Johnson because Heath Miller's still out. And John, we highlight Fernando Velasco, former Tennessee Titans starter. A week ago, he's sitting home. Now he's the Steelers starter.
He's got to communicate the calls in this noise and lean on his guards for help if he needs it. But most importantly, he's got to block his tail off tonight.
He's in because of the season-ending injury to Marquise Pouncey, the Pro Bowler. Opening drive from the 35, and it's Jones with the start, and he's stopped by Vontaze Burfict. No gain. Cincinnati on the defensive side of the ball. Mike Zimmer is their coordinator. They had a good first half last week. A lot of paid guys very well up front. James Harrison plays linebacker in the 4-3, not the 3-4. And Roethlisberger to the line and no huddle. And only a gain of 1 for Jones as Domata Peko, part of that line, turns him away.
And that's disappointing if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You want to crank up the run, so you call 2 runs to start the game. You put the plays in the night before the game. You get everybody excited, and Cincinnati rejects both of them. And this is where defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer loves to be with his pressure package. Look for a lot of it right up the middle in Roethlisberger's face.
3rd and 9. And Roethlisberger going to hand it off on 3rd and 9 to Jones. He's stopped. They gained 5 yards on 3 runs. Pittsburgh 3 and out.
Well, Cincinnati comes with a weak side blitz. Roethlisberger goes with a shotgun run. And you can see clearly what Mike Tomlin's pregame message was. Let's run the ball and get a first down and get things started. It backfired. Good work by the Bengal defense.
Adam Jones, formerly referred to as Pac-Man, back for the Zoltan Mesko punt. Former Patriots punter, cut by New England. Now with the Steelers. It's pick 45, returned by Jones. For 5, just over the 20s, where Andy Dalton and the Cincinnati offense will get its night going. His 3rd year to the playoffs the first couple of years. Dalton leads a group with a lot of talented receivers, young receivers, but talented, including the rookie Tyler Eifert. John Andrew Whitworth returns at left tackle. He missed most of the preseason and the first game with a knee injury.
Yeah, we got to keep an eye on that knee tonight. I didn't think he was going to get the play, but it looks like the captain of the Cincinnati Bengals talked himself into the lineup. Good to see him out there.
Drive start from the 21. Here's Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Now in his 2nd year at the Bengals, he gains 5. Keon Wilson pulls him down, and Keon Wilson's important. I mentioned at the start, their defensive signal caller's gone for the year. That's the veteran Larry Foote. So Wilson, who was out of football last year, gets a key role in that linebacking slot, along with the rookie Jarvis Jones.
It's hard to be the mouthpiece of the Dick LeBeau defense. Nobody's more sophisticated and more demanding than Dick LeBeau. Keon Wilson will have his hands full tonight.
2nd and 5. On play action, Dalton high for Eifert. And incomplete. But John, let's talk about the communication. As you know, the defensive coordinator or one of his coaches can talk right to someone on the defense. And wearing the green dot for that communication is Wilson, the younger player.
And it's hard because Dick LeBeau, as I said, he has it all. They've got empty blitz checks, so-called double-digit coverages. Play this against this formation. Check to this if the slot goes in motion. Very sophisticated. Lot to do if you're an inside linebacker in this defense. It'll be a challenge.
And here on third down, as they go to the extra DBs, there's Troy Polamalu, who's always nosing around the line of scrimmage, almost in a linebacker type role. Dalton, before he's hit, throws high for Eifert, and incomplete. The pressure came from the veteran Brett Kiesel, and the Bengals, like the Steelers, go 3 and out.
Like to see Dalton hit Eifert, has him open in the middle of the field, but pressure. Whether they get the sacks or not, it's the hits on the quarterback that take their toll. But Andy Dalton needs to make that throw right there. Eifert's wide open.
Lefty Kevin Huber, born in Cincinnati, went to college here in Cincinnati. The Bengals punter is picked 44. On the return, good slip by Antonio Brown down the sideline. Brown past the kicker and chased down at the 34-yard line. Not many teams have their #1 wide receiver as their punt returner. Brown does it and gives the Steelers great field position.
Well, the ball's kicked between the numbers and the sideline. Just poor coverage distribution by the Bengals. And you got to credit the Steelers. Nice kickoff return to start the game. And now Antonio Brown sets up Ben Roethlisberger just outside the red zone. And they love to take shots in this field position.
That return, John, was a 40-yarder by Brown, who took one 60 yards against the Bengals for a touchdown, also in his career. So what a great chance after a very bland opening drive for the Steelers. Let's see what they do on their second one. It's Roethlisberger taking a shot downfield, incomplete. Looking for Emmanuel Sanders, and Adam Pac-Man Jones there on coverage.
Well, they love to take shots in the red zone fringe. Just outside the 30, you've got plenty of room to get the ball up and down. And that time, they go after Pac-Man Jones, who's in one-on-one coverage with Emmanuel Sanders. Sanders can fly too, Mike. I know they lost Mike Wallace to the Miami Dolphins, but they still have plenty of speed in this receiving corps.
2nd and 10. Ben goes down. Carlos Dunlap, Domata Peko meet at the quarterback.
Carlos Dunlap going after his old college teammate Marcus Gilbert. Going to be a big matchup all night. Dunlap against Marcus Gilbert on the right side. You see Domata Peko pushing the pocket inside. There's no chance for Ben Roethlisberger. Pittsburgh's got to clean up this pass protection. He went down 5 times last week. Not good enough.
Most sacked man by over 100 sacks over the last 8 seasons. 3rd and 16, out of field goal range. Harrison rushes over the guard, and they run it inside towards that area. And the Felix Jones gain isn't a first down, but gives them a chance for a 44-yard field goal attempt here on 4th down.
That's the problem with some of these loose prevent defenses. You're vulnerable to the draw. And that time, Felix Jones doesn't get touched until he gets clearly through the linebacker level of the Bengals. And as you say, it sets up a very makeable field goal.
Talked to Sean Sweezum before the game. He said the hamstring that he injured in warm-ups last week feels good, kicked well on Friday. He'll try this one from 44. Out of the hold by Mesko. First points of the game, Pittsburgh. So Antonio Brown's punt return gave the Steelers their best field position of their first game plus, and it leads to the Steeler points and the lead.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. NFL.com Fantasy. It's not too late to sign up and play for free at NFL.com/fantasy. And Bridgestone. Our passion for performance knows no bounds. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion.
Great look inside Paul Brown Stadium, and tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. Place the Steelers have owned on their visits, winning 10 of their last 11 trips here to Cincinnati. Troy Polamalu and the Pittsburgh defense forced Andy Dalton 3 and out with that Cincinnati offense. And Brandon Tate back deep to receive the Sweezum kickoff. backed up all the way and stepped on the white. So he's out of bounds, and the Bengals will take over at their own 20. Troy on the field with the Steelers when we come back. 4 times an All-Pro, former Defensive Player of the Year, 7 times the Pro Bowl. Troy Polamalu says he's feeling healthy, and that calf injury that slowed him down last year is not an issue. He's such a big part of your offensive game plan when you go up against the Steelers. And Andy Dalton told us on Saturday, absolutely, every snap. Where's 43? What's he going to do on this play? Dalton's first down pass for A.J. Green. He's incomplete.
You got to know what you're doing and where he is at all times. This is the Evel Knievel of strong safeties. You got to limit your motions. If he understands your snap count and gets a beat on you, you're in trouble. Be careful with how many times you use motion. If he sees you twice a year, he's a real problem. He will jump over a moving van to get to your quarterback. He's clearly healthy, and he's making a lot of plays in this Steeler defense.
And that was last week, the play made against Tennessee. Dalton throws. This one's on time and on target. Caught by A.J. Green. He tried to spin it up, but couldn't get the first down, so he's a couple yards shy. You know, John, that's the first throw that A.J.'s looked good on. He's struggled so far here tonight.
Yes, he has. He was late off the ball the last play, A.J. Green. But here's a great release against Ike Taylor. And you see how quickly he gets out of his stem. Wide receivers sometimes take a while to get out of their break, but A.J. Green does it effortlessly. And he's going to have his hands full with the veteran Ike Taylor. The two of them have looked forward to this confrontation all summer.
This is 3rd and 2, and Cincinnati will throw for it right back to Green on Taylor. And that's a catch for the first down. First one of the night for Cincinnati.
Ike Taylor. He's done it for a long time. Just off coverage. Quick game. You see Ike Taylor drive the quick pass. Sooner or later, Taylor's going to jump one of those routes. He's got to be alert for the double move, but nobody has committed himself to the mastery of techniques like Ike Taylor. This is going to be a good matchup tonight.
See the great start to the season that A.J. Green had statistically against Chicago last week. And Jarvis Green-Ellis with some green space to run. And right near the first down as Polamalu makes the tackle.
These shotgun runs are a problem for every defense because of the threat of the quarterback coming out the backside. Watch how Dalton holds the backside just enough to allow then Jarvis Green-Ellis to cut the play back. Whether the quarterback is running the read option or not, the threat of the quarterback keeping the ball in the shotgun is a major story in pro football right now.
Green-Ellis, this Cincinnati offense, didn't have much success running against the Bears last week. They did throwing, and Marvin Jones a part of that. Jones, a second year out of Cal, 5th round pick, trying to build around Andy Dalton. It's a young offense they have, John, with Eifert, the rookie tight end, Gresham, the receivers, as Andy Dalton continues to build up on 2 good quality years with that week 1 performance.
No question. I think as his supporting cast gets better, so will he.
Green-Ellis to the right. That time was snuffed out. William Gay with the stop. And that's a loss of a yard. You know, John, with Dalton, it's interesting because what does he wow you with? Well, he doesn't wow you with the college resume. And he was terrific at TCU, but he wasn't high profile on Saturday night primetime games. Does he wow you when you see him throw the ball? He's pretty good. But when you look at the whole body of work, it keeps getting better. You love to see his growth.
He might not ever be a Peyton Manning, but I guarantee you this. It's nice to come to the stadium every week with a quarterback you know you can win with. And that's Andy Dalton.
Talking about that young nucleus around him. First running back taken in the draft, Giovanni Bernard, is next to him. 3rd and 5 is going to be 3rd and 10 as Kevin Zeitler moved. Mike Carey's the ref tonight.
Ball start. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty is still 3rd down.
You know, you use a hard count to your advantage at home. You're playing a team that you see twice a year that clearly gets off the ball. You're trying to keep Troy Polamalu at bay. And the first time you use it, you jump off sides. It's maddening if you're a coach, believe me.
But that's what you were showing us before with Polamalu and getting the read on the quarterback and the snap count. You try to throw him off. And now Polamalu is right in front of Jermaine Gresham. Covering the tight end on 3rd and 10. Dalton throws towards Gresham. Too high. And incomplete.
Two deep man under, and Troy Polamalu has the coverage against the Pro Bowl Gresham. These are plays you'd like to see Cincinnati make. Inside technique. Gresham snaps it to the outside. Ball's thrown high. Andy Dalton has missed two open receivers on third down, but the penalty once again hurts Cincinnati.
Punt return the first time for Antonio Brown. Kevin Huber kicks again. Let that one go, and it goes out at the 2. As good as possible, except for a yard for Huber. 56 on the kick. So it's like it was last week. Long field for Roethlisberger and the Steelers. The Roebling suspension bridge. Bobby, your picture. You can walk or drive across there to Kentucky. Right here on the banks of the Ohio in Cincinnati. And 97 yards for the Steelers to go. Starting at their own 3. And Roethlisberger on the give to Felix Jones, who gets to the 6. We're seeing a lot of Jones here now because Isaac Redman is being diagnosed for concussion, evaluation for concussion. So for the moment, not a lot of Redman, who had his fumbling issues last week, and that was just the beginning of the problems that the Steelers have.
Let's see if this crowd noise can make life difficult for the Steelers' new center, Velasco, who's been here for a week. Let's see if he can communicate in this noise in a backed-up situation.
On the 6, it thrown hot to Antonio Brown. The side trying to get around Terrence Newman, and looks like he has enough for the first down.
That's this Steeler running game. If you load the box up with 8 defenders, Roethlisberger's going to see one-on-one. He's not going to hand the ball off. He's just going to pick it up and throw it out there to Antonio Brown. You better make that one-on-one tackle. Big part of Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator's running game, is built-in sight adjustments when you load the box.
Replaced Bruce Arians as the offensive coordinator here last year. He and Ben Roethlisberger trying to get on a better page here in year 2. Roethlisberger keeping that one and ducking out of bounds at the 20-yard line. It looked like it was a big negative play to Felix Jones. I don't know if that was designed or that was Ben being Ben.
He just saved Felix Jones' life. I mean, he is going to get hit by 2 Cincinnati Bengals off the right side, and Roethlisberger says, "I'll cover you, Felix." Ben Roethlisberger plays quarterback unlike anyone else. Risk and reward. And there have been plenty of rewards. There was another case of one right there.
Velasco snaps it back to Jones. Felix dances, and he'll get a first down to the 24-yard line. There were a lot of questions. Why didn't Felix Jones play more last week in the loss to Tennessee? He only played 7 snaps. So remember, Jones with the Cowboys was a very good compliment, great speed factor that he added in. Last year, not as good a season, and then went to Philadelphia, but then the Eagles traded him to Pittsburgh. He, according to Mike Tomlin, didn't know the offense well enough for the no-huddle stuff. So that's why he didn't play as much last week as he will this. Roethlisberger tried to loft it to Kotchery. Just got it over Leon Hall, who was hoping he could pick it. Incomplete.
And here comes some fresh pass rushers for the Bengals. Atkins, 97, the Pro Bowler. Michael Johnson, 93, the franchise player. We've already talked about Carlos Dunlap. This group had 51 sacks last year, and 43 of them came from the defensive line. These are young, talented pass rushers that need to tee off right now.
Hey, you got to go because the play clock's running down. And Roethlisberger launching downfield, a lot of contact, and the flag comes in. Antonio Brown's the intended receiver. Adam Jones was hanging on, And it looks like he will be flagged for it.
Well, Pac-Man Jones, they went after him earlier with Emmanuel Sanders, and I think it's a pretty good call right there.
Defense number 24. He was spotted a foul. Automatic. First down.
And the Bengals, who had the Steelers backed up, have hurt themselves with penalties once again. And Marvin Lewis can't be happy, Mike.
Yeah, John, last week was 8 penalties, 84 yards that the Bengals gave the Bears, and some key penalties at inopportune times. Felix Jones, 6 rushes. He goes to the bench. Jonathan Dwyer is the back now, and Dwyer re-signed at the start of the season, gains a couple of yards. Dwyer was actually the leading runner for the Steelers last year with 623 yards. His dependability was cited when he was cut at the end of training camp. But this is a very fluid situation. Let's be honest. They got a bunch of backs playing because they don't have one really good one right now.
That's a good point. And dependability with Dwyer is the key word. He's got to keep his weight under control. He's got to know the game plan, be more consistent. Some of these Steeler running backs are talented. They just got to do it.
Kelvin Beachum is in as an extra tight end. Steelers bring the big folks on the field to protect Roethlisberger, who finds David Paulson. The rumbling tight end has it taken away. That's ruled down by contact. Wow, at the 16-yard line. Paulson was being pulled away from the ball by Adam Jones. Steelers are rushing to the line quickly.
Like to do this after a big play. Keep Cincinnati off schedule, but now the Steelers are going to substitute. That might be replayed, Mike.
Yeah, that ball might be coming out because his foot comes down, which means he's still a runner there. And is the ball out before his butt hits the ground? Marvin Lewis throws the challenge flag. Again, that foot coming down is not considered a body part that would be down by contact, just like you're taking another step. Essentially, Roethlisberger was trying to run and get that play run before the replay came up. Under review, fumble or not. Now, the ruling on the field was that the receiver, Paulson, was down by contact. The whistle blows the play dead, but in replay now, you can get that ball back if there's a clear recovery to the defense. Those two shots moving there show you the ball is moving. Adam Jones knocks it out. When a foot and before the hand comes out, or comes down, I should say. So that should be overturned, what would have been a 34-yard gain in the ball in the red zone.
And you can see the Steelers have already sent their defense out there. Pretty clear indication that this will be a fumble.
And here's the referee, Mike Carey.
After review, the ball was out before the receiver hit the ground. Therefore, Cincinnati is not charged with a team timeout.
It's Cincinnati ball, and they can earn a third challenge if their second one is correct. John Paulson, the second-year receiver out of Oregon, put up a lot of good stats in Chip Kelly's offense, and they're trying to do tight end by committee to fill in for the injured All-Pro Heath Miller.
All 4 of these tight ends can't replace Heath Miller. They're using Beachum to block. They're using Paulson to run routes. Paulson is an inexperienced young tight end. Only had 7 catches last year. Not a good start. But Andy Dalton, the quarterback of the Bengals, got to settle down a little bit, Mike. He's thrown some balls that have been high. The pocket has been pretty good. But on the last 2 third downs, he's missed open receivers. Let's see if the Bengals can mount a drive.
Now, Mike Carey's back over there by the replay monitor and in conversation with some folks who are helping coordinate the time for the game, make sure everything is in place properly after that review.
It'll be Cincinnati's ball on the 13-yard line, and Cincinnati will not be charged with a team timeout. Please put 3:22 on the game clock. 3:22 on the game clock, please.
And that was the issue. 39 seconds whittled away there as the Steelers were up getting ready to run another play. That clock continued to run. So nice job to make sure that the clock was properly set. Well, John, your brother Jay is the offensive coordinator here for the Bengals, taking a very young offense first 2 years, and it has really grown. But as we talked with him, this is a huge challenge going up against the Dick LeBeau Steeler defense.
Especially when he sees you twice a year. LeBeau knows a lot about this Bengal offense, but they're using these two tight ends. Here they are at the top of the screen.
Giovanni Bernard is one of the 5 split out, the running back. It's thrown to Gresham. That's complete. And Vince Williams makes the tackle. Vince Williams, rookie out of Florida State, 6th rounder. He's making his NFL debut. He was inactive in week 1. And both he and Keon Wilson are going to play this position that Larry Foote once had before the injury.
A lot of obscure Steelers make a living in Pittsburgh. James Harrison did it for a long time, an undrafted, unknown out of Kent State. They have high hopes for Vince Williams.
2nd and 5, and here comes Bernard. Good read. As we said, first running back taken in the draft out of North Carolina, Giovanni Bernard.
Well, it's an inside zone off the right side, but watch him cut it back behind the nose tackle. Good job by the young back pressing it, setting up his blocks and bouncing it backside for daylight. Bernard has quickness and pass receiving ability. I can't wait to see him pick up a blitz against this Steeler defense.
He releases out of the backfield. Dalton wide open, Eifert. There goes the other rookie. Inside the 20, down to the 13-yard line.
Well, when you play 3 deep, you are vulnerable to the old-fashioned sluggo seam. Watch the sluggo. They're going to move the free safety, and Eifert is going to take the seam. He's going to be wide open. But Ryan Clark jumped all over Andy Dalton's eyes, and the rookie from Notre Dame says call that play again. Outstanding work by Dalton in the pocket, manipulating the veteran Clark.
61 for Eifert, who had 5 catches in week 1. In the red zone, in the hands of Marvin Jones on the edge. Pulled down by William Gay. William Gay getting the start here tonight.
Mohamed Sanu.
Sanu, beg your pardon, 12, not 82.
And Sanu, who fumbled in the red zone last week against Chicago, learned his lesson. That time he hung on to the ball, but Mohamed Sanu is a joker. I've seen him play quarterback in the Wildcat. He's good in the slot. This is a physical receiver, much like Marcus Colston was in his young days.
6'2", 210. Bernard up the middle. Giovanni Bernard, Bengal touchdown.
Boy, that's much needed quickness coming out of the backfield for this Bengal offense. We said it in the preseason. We haven't seen this type of speed here since James Brooks was wearing the stripes. Just a draw play is going to come right up the middle. Ryan Clark, Timmons, Vince Williams get caught up in the trash. That's just great cutback running and good north-south finishing by the rookie.
You want to see your draft class pay off right away? How about that drive? Mike Nugent, the Ohio native, adds the extra point. What a turnaround. Steelers were down in the red zone. Adam Jones started it, forced the ball out, and then Giovanni Bernard finished it with a touchdown. And the first tight end taken in the draft, Eifert, got him down close. Cincinnati answers as Pittsburgh had that field goal lead earlier on. 12 personnel. You schooled me last year of what that means.
That's one back, 2 tight ends, and
2 wide receivers.
2 receivers.
Right.
But look what they can do with these 2 tight ends formationally. You can line up in a balanced formation with one on one side, one on the other. Here's a 2-back set. There's Gresham over there. Eifert's playing fullback in a backfield. And then they get into a bunch formation with Eifert at the point. Gresham's inside with A.J. Green on the outside. Keep watching it. They go to another bunch formation at the top of the screen, only it's empty. There's no backs. It's just Andy Dalton by himself. Eifert can get into the slot. They can put Gresham in the slot the other way. These 2 tight ends, I call them jokers. They're good in any hand. You can put them together. You can put them on opposite sides of the formation. And Jay Gruden has done an excellent job taking advantage of his personnel. That's what you have to do. Get your best players on the field. good utilization of these two tight ends.
Helped set up the key plays on that last drive. Felix Jones has a no return, and it'll start from the 20. And John, we talked about it with New England. You see Ben Roethlisberger coming out and the weapons he doesn't have. We've seen Tom Brady already this year. It's a different looking offense without Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski. And Cincinnati, as you just showed there, when you have those two tight ends, it really gives the defense problems identifying who is it and what is he going to do.
There's no question about it. And Ben Roethlisberger misses Heath Miller. He was his leading receiver last year. Outstanding pass protector and blocker. You're only as good as your supporting cast sometimes. And I think Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, the best of them, will tell you that's the case at times.
Final minute of this first quarter. And Roethlisberger will run it with Jones on the edge. Adam Jones has made a couple of good plays here in this first quarter for this Cincinnati defense.
And I give Adam Jones a lot of credit. He's been a lightning rod off the field for a lot of reasons. Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals, has given him an opportunity, and he's beaten out Dre Kirkpatrick, last year's first-round draft choice, and played quite well in the kicking game as well.
And 7 with Roethlisberger pumping and throwing underneath. Kachary could not hang on. It'll be third down.
Unfortunate. Kachary's got to make that play in the middle of the field. Good pass protection on the left side by Mike Adams, working against Michael Johnson. 3rd and 7. Haven't seen Cincinnati with one of their creative blitzes yet, but this is the time and the place that Mike Zimmer revs it up.
The linebackers and safeties up on the line. And here they come, a half dozen of them. Roethlisberger throws, just gets rid of it. Incomplete. On 3rd and longer. The defensive coordinators love to go through their menu and pick something out.
Absolutely. And Cincinnati, with these high-priced pass rushers, they benefit by this scheme. Mike Zimmer will blitz off the edge. He'll blitz up the middle. He'll create one-on-ones. Roethlisberger just missed that throw, but Kachary's got to make the play on 2nd down.
Esco to kick it away. And a 49-yarder brought in by Tate. And Brandon Tate is one Patriot. X kicks to another expat, if you will. And Tate's down to the 41-yard line. 35 yards of net. 1 second left in quarter number 1. And the Bengals on top. To see Act 3 in the extraordinary start of Peyton Manning's year 2 in Denver as the Broncos host the Raiders. Guy used to hang around these Ohio parts over in Columbus. Terrell Pryor starting for the Raiders, who are 1-1. We'll see the Raiders and the Broncos next Monday night out in the Rockies. Final second of this opening quarter. Bengals take over at their own 42. And we had movement by Gresham. That'll cost him 5.
That's 2 times now.
False start. Offense, number 84. 5-yard penalty is still first.
Gresham's a better football player than that. That's his 2nd pre-snap penalty. They're using the hard count. And I guarantee you Jay Gruden's going to say, let's forget the hard count because we're not ready for it tonight. That's 2 of them in the first quarter.
Hey, sub. Yep, hey, tag. Yep.
1st and 15. You go 3 receivers with Sanu in motion. And a quick toss to Mohamed Sanu. Got a nice block from Whitworth. Polamalu tackles him a yard shy of the 1st down. And they'll just flip to the other side of midfield and start the 2nd quarter from there. Bengals 7, Steelers 3 on Monday Night Football. Dalton started every game his first 2 years and had 2 games this year, so that's 34 games. In 23 of them, his Bengals have had the lead after the first quarter. First quarter numbers have been good, 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And the team's outscoring the opponents by over 100. So this is a Cincinnati team that in these first 2 years with Dalton at the helm, getting off to good starts. They have again here tonight. And Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, 2nd and 1, and he gets a bunch more.
Well,
Gain of 14, first down.
excuse me, Mike. Offensive line coach Paul Alexander loves this duo scheme. Let's run behind double teams. This time they run off the left side. You're going to see Bowling in the center. Kyle Cook work to get a double team at the point of attack, and it's just good movement, good work by Cook on the second level, and nice open field running by Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. Don't see that often against this Pittsburgh Steelers run defense.
Green Ellis, 27 yards, already 2 more than he had against the Bears in week 1. He's down from 35. Dalton loading, firing downfield, and it was just a miscommunication with A.J. Green. He went one way, and he thought he was going the other.
Sometimes A.J. Green and Dalton in this vertical pass offense aren't on the same page. Clearly, A.J. went to the post, and Dalton was expecting something different. That was a waist down and in good field position. That's frustrating.
Steelers still have Vince Williams, 98, in that Larry Foote position, the inside linebacker spot. Dalton quickly slings it out to Marvin Jones. Good move by Jones. And another one.
I'm not used to seeing Ike Taylor miss a tackle. This Pittsburgh Steelers secondary is an outstanding tackling group. That time, great work by Jones in the open field, and missed tackles are an uncommon sight in this Steelers secondary, but so far these young Bengal receivers have done a nice job with the quick passes.
It looked like he had stepped out of bounds there prior to that first down mark. It was close, but the first down for Cincinnati at the 24. Bernard is the back. Dalton, double clutch, throw over the middle, and on the deflection off of Green and incomplete. Steve McClendon with the pressure.
Well, this is an area I know Jay Gruden spends a lot of time in. He and his offensive staff of the Bengals, especially against Pittsburgh. The game plan changes. Dick LeBeau's coverages are different, but he's going to try to get Tyler Eifert somehow involved in the middle of the field, although the young tight end isn't present right now.
3 receivers here for 2nd and 10. Dalton had it knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and that pass is incomplete. He's had it deflected a lot at the line in his first couple of years. That time Cameron Haywood able to knock it down.
Well, Hayward does a nice job keying the quarterback. When he feels the launch of Dalton, he sticks his hand up and gets a rejection. And as you said, it's been a common problem for Dalton. 3rd and 10. Expect Dick LeBeau to show blitz, and you be the judge at home. Is he bringing it or bluffing it?
3rd and 10. Here come the Steelers with the pressure. It was Timmons coming free, and the pass for Sanu is incomplete. So you set it up. That 3rd and 10, that's right in LeBeau's wheelhouse. And as he's done a whole bunch, his pressure forced it out early.
Well, you're going to see the pressure come off the right side. There's a no-back set, and Dick LeBeau does an excellent job empowering his defense to blitz no-back sets. That's a nice job disguising the look and getting there.
41-yard field goal attempt for Mike Nugent. Didn't have any field goal attempts last week against the Bears. Flag is down as Nugent hits the field goal. It was 4th and 10. And William Gay may have come offside a bit early. So do you go to 4th and 5 or just keep the points and make it 10-0, which is the likely decision? Or 10-3, I should say.
Offside. Defense number 22 has declined. Score is good. Timeout.
So Nugent Knocks through the field goal, and the Bengals have a 7-point lead here early second quarter.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. NFLShop.com. Find the largest selection of NFL products at the official store of the NFL. And GMC. Enter the Never Say Never sweepstakes for a chance to win a 2014 GMC vehicle at gmc.com/NFL.
Can't come to Cincinnati without a little chili. 5-way, whatever way you like it. Very particular and proud folks are. They're chili here in Cincinnati. First Monday night game here in 3 years, and they've come dressed for the occasion.
They're excited about this Bengal football team, and rightfully so.
Trying to make the playoffs 3 straight years. No return on the kick, and Lisa Salters on the sideline. Lisa.
Hey, Mike, well, as you know, Fernando Velasco got cut by the Titans just a couple of weeks ago. He was actually in church last week when the Titans and Steelers game was going on, so he didn't know that Marquise Pouncey had gotten hurt. Didn't know until he got out of church when his agent called him that the Steelers were looking for his services. It's been a whirlwind for him ever since. In fact, things went so fast for him this week, he was still in his jeans when he got his first work in with Ben Roethlisberger. He was being shown around the facility, ran into Ben, started taking snaps right then and there in his jeans. Ben said the first couple were a little shaky, but since then all week, it's been all good.
He put on football pants. Got a little easier. Thanks, Lisa. Isaac Redman has been cleared after the concussion evaluation. He's in the game blocking. Roethlisberger up top, incomplete. Looking for Antonio Brown. So that's the backstory on Velasco. How's he done his first quarter?
I like what he's done. Nice job anchoring in pass protection. Kept his head on a swivel. Picked up Geno Atkins. Helped the Castro. He's communicated. He's done a nice job in the pass protection part of things, but Pittsburgh still needs to find a running game.
13 games have started with Tennessee last year. Steeler employee for 8 days. Run with Redmond. Only a gain of 1. Fans were all over Isaac Redmond at Heinz Field last week. Bench good part of that second half. Had a fumble on the opening drive. 8 plays, 8 rushes for 9 yards. Got his first carries here tonight.
And James Harrison, the ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, enters the game in a long yardage situation. He has not been a part of the Bengals sub package. Watch out for number 92 in this situation.
That first time he was in on a 3rd and long, he rushed right at the guard, trying to overpower the guard. Let's see what he does here. Steelers go 4 receivers with the rookie Marcus Wheaton. Harrison drops in coverage as Roethlisberger incomplete. Kotchery over there. Route didn't look complete. Michael Johnson, for about the 4th time, put pressure on Roethlisberger.
Well, here's Harrison in that A-gap look. He's probably talking to Roethlisberger right there, Mike. He bluffed the blitz. He bailed out of there. They fooled the Steeler offensive line once again. They get to Roethlisberger just as he releases the football.
Results in Mesko again. This is like a month worth of punting in New England for Mesko. What he's done his first 6 quarters as a Steeler. Flag down as Tate goes down just across the 40-yard line. 43 on the kick, just 5 on the return. Let's check the flag. Roethlisberger talking with his receivers, trying to get the communication, because there have been a couple of routes here that have not looked very clean. Late first and now second
During
quarter.
the return, a little block on the back on the receiving team, number 88. 10-yard penalty. They retain possession. First down. Timeout.
Roethlisberger, 4 straight incompletions. Only 2 of 8 here tonight. Into the Pro Bowl his first 2 years. Number 4 pick in the 2011 draft out of Georgia. A.J. Green, he makes magic happen. Ball up in the air, comes down with it. Really becoming a polished route runner, and great head-to-head tonight. Green against Ike Taylor, the Steelers corner. That was a good play by Jarvis Jones, the first-round pick of the Steelers. Getting in the backfield. A loss of a yard.
Take a look at A.J. Green against Ike Taylor tonight. Bump and run coverage. Great release. Nice job snapping out of the break, catching the football. Then he got off coverage a second time. Just a hitch pattern into the boundary. Got to keep an eye on this matchup. Two great ones going after each other.
After the no gain, it's Dalton for Gresham with the catch. Jarvis Jones made the play in the backfield, makes the play on the edge on Gresham, and it's third down. You know, John, you talk about Ike Taylor. He, perhaps because his hands are poor and he doesn't get the interception numbers, doesn't get the appreciation for what a good corner he is year in, year out.
That's ridiculous. I think he is as good a shutdown corner as we've had in the NFL in the last 10 or 15 years. He should be number 0 because he plays zero coverage with no help as much as any corner in the game.
Third and 4. Dalton with time, the toss snatched by Sanu, and a first down at the 42.
You know, Andrew Hawkins, the second leading receiver for the Bengals, is out with a broken foot. He was an excellent slot receiver, and Sanu has picked up the slack. You're going to see Sanu on the left side of your screen run a little option route in the slot. He comes out of the break, catches the ball against Thomas, the rookie from Syracuse. He knows exactly where the first down is. Nice work by the second-year man from Rutgers.
Sanu set what at time was the Big East record, 210 career receptions. That is knocked down by Polamalu, getting in the alley of the intended hot to Marvin Jones.
That's a heck of a play. Steelers clearly coming with a blitz. Dalton aborts the running play, tries to get the quick pattern out to his weak side, and be careful with Troy Polamalu. Great to see him back healthy again, Mike. It's been 4 or 5 years with that calf that has really lingered his play, but he is special.
He missed 22 games the last 4 years. One of the first things you told me this week, that the old Troy Polamalu is back, wreaking havoc. Dalton to Eifert going nowhere, and Lamar Woodley, who had the only sack for the Steelers against Tennessee last week, comes up with the play that'll make it third and about 10.
Hard to run bootlegs against the 34 defense because they always have these outside linebackers on the edge. And as soon as you come out of the fake, you see Lamar Woodley on one side or Jarvis Jones on the other. Once again, another third and long, very difficult situation for anybody against this Steeler defense.
And this is Dick LeBeau time, like you said, on the earlier third and long. Pressure picked up. Dalton fires over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Sanu, laid out, knowing that the coverage was coming and closing on him fast.
Nice play by the backside safety, Ryan Clark. It's too deep, man underneath, and it looks like Sanu has some separation, but Clark comes from the backside and makes a great play. Legal, physical, excellent work by the veteran Clark.
That 40-yard punt return by Brown, you see there, that led to a good field position for the only Steeler points of the night, a field goal. Huber, who's excellent at pinning the opponent's back. Got a good hang time, bangs him back to the 15-yard line. So all 43 yards, net punting yards there. It's like Taylor and the Steeler D get a rest. Back here in Cincinnati, where the Steeler offense has struggled. That one field goal was the beneficiary of good field position, and then the one nice drive they had, they fumbled the ball. But this offense not inspiring the Steeler fans to think that the woes of last week are any better. Roethlisberger, that pass is complete. Catch by Emmanuel Sanders in front of Leon Hall.
You know, this Steeler offense clearly a work in progress, and it's been hard to watch the first game and a half this season. They've got a new offensive line coach. They've got a lot of new linemen, new schemes, no blocking tight end, not a true feature back. Not going to be easy.
One with Jones up the middle for the first down to the 28-yard line. But it's go back philosophically here for a minute, John, because when Todd Haley came in, part of the concept and the talk was, let's save Ben Roethlisberger. You can't take all these hits now that you're in your 30s and survive. But the fit just isn't there with personnel and with what Ben does best right now.
I think the less you ask Roethlisberger to do, the harder it gets. I'd knock on his door and say, I need you to do it all Monday night. They need number 7 to deliver.
Felix Jones remains the back, takes it to the left. DeCastro was out there to block for him. And he gets out to the 31-yard line. So we look at all this, and we have to remember there's no Heath Miller, and what a huge key part of this offense he was. You know, when Ben needed a play, how often did he go to 83 in black and gold? And look at that. John, 7 out of every 10 times he threw it to Miller. Miller caught it, and very often it turned into a first down.
Certain guys you can't replace. And I feel the same way a little bit about Hines Ward.
Mike Tomlin told us last night, chance Miller can get back for next Sunday night against Chicago. Same with Le'Veon Bell, their second-round pick out of Michigan State, the running back. This is caught by Antonio Brown. And Brown cuts across the field with speed and goes down there at the 45-yard line.
You have to anticipate quick throws to the outside. If you're going to blitz the Steelers and bring all these Bengals into the paint, Roethlisberger is going to pick the ball up and throw it quickly to the outside with linemen out front. If you have a hard time pass protecting, which Pittsburgh clearly does, throw screens to Antonio Brown and let him be a punt returner. He's very good after the catch.
Jones is seeking space, gets about a yard or two. Ray Malaluga, middle linebacker, comes up with the tackle. And John, we talk about Mike Wallace, who broke through from Miami, a couple of scores yesterday. He was the #1 receiver. Now they believe Antonio Brown can be that man. With Sanders and Cotchery and the rookie Wheaton, there's the feeling that the receiving core is good enough.
Well, there's a feeling, but Mike Wallace had 14 touchdowns of 40 yards or more. It's a lot easier to score when you can score on one play. I haven't seen that since Wallace left town.
Derek Moy, 6'5", first-year man out of Penn State. In a lineup for the first time tonight, bottom of your screen. And here comes Cotchery on the end around. Taken down by Carlos Dunlap.
That's what a defensive end is supposed to look like. Dunlap. He doesn't buy anything on the backside. He doesn't close. When Gilbert blocks down, he shuffles, he accelerates, and he makes an excellent tackle for loss. But Dunlap had a concussion in the preseason. He's clearly healthy. He's got a sack and a big tackle for loss.
Now Mike Zimmer's time to come up with the defensive pressure. Roethlisberger going to have to take a timeout here, and he was not happy as he walked toward the Steelers sideline. The Houday fans on their feet. Ben getting after his guys. Why Roethlisberger was so hot going to the break. Personnel all messed up. You got 4 receivers, a tight end, and a running back. That's too many. If he would have been in the huddle, he would have had illegal substitution with 12 guys there in the huddle.
Well, he's really going to get upset here if he doesn't get some better pass protection.
3rd and 13. Bengals just show the 4-man rush. And drop 7 in coverage. Roethlisberger incomplete. Looks like Cotchery had a tough time locating it. And after picking up the first down, the Steelers will kick it away.
I have never seen Ben Roethlisberger and his receiving corps not on the same page like they are right now. Here comes the 4-man rush. I thought the protection was pretty good. But clearly Ben Roethlisberger and Jericho Cotchery aren't on the same page.
See if they come after Mesko here. The Bengals are getting fancy on this right end of Mesko. Good job by the Steelers protection. 39-yard punt, fair caught by Ben Tate. At the 19, Brandon Tate, I should say, at the 19-yard line. Think of the Ben and Roethlisberger here. as he goes up against a Cincinnati team that offensively and defensively, it's where they were in 2010. Let's look at where the improvement has come. More points, up about 1.5, and 4 fewer points in Mike Zimmer's defense. And then last year, a little more of a bump, 3 more points in the field goal a game. That defense keeping them right at 20 per. So it's been improvement on both sides of the ball. That front line, that's Domata Peko, a defensive line that has been kept intact, young and talented, and the growth of this offense. Bernard the carry for about 4 yards. John, a lot of credit's got to go to the personnel decisions made. In addition to Marvin Jones bringing in your brother Jay and Mike Zimmer, the coordinators. Mike Brown in the drafting here in Cincinnati has been good the last few years, and it's proven it in the standings.
Yeah, and I like that word continuity. When you keep people together, you have a chance to improve together. And they've drafted 4 Pro Bowl players in the last couple years. Clearly, Giovanni Bernard and Tyler Eifert, their first and second rounder from this year, can play as well.
Tight ends left from the right side, and Dalton fires. Too tall and incomplete. Looking at Alex Smith, who came in there as an extra tight end as well. You talk about continuity with the staff too, John. The staff in Detroit, the Giants, and the Washingtons, the only 3 staffs in the league where the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator have been together longer than this group here.
Makes you want to be a coach, doesn't it?
Houston and San Francisco, the other teams in the same boat, along with the Bengals, 3 years together. The coach and the coordinators. See what pressure the Steelers dial up on 3rd and 6. Dalton's pass incomplete. And it's a quick 3 and out for the Bengals.
A.J. Green and Ike Taylor go after each other here, and let's give this one to the veteran Taylor. Andy's been wild, though, with the football at times here in the first half. Hard defense to throw the ball against, hard defense to do anything against.
Huber kicking again. This one tough to catch, but more returnable. Antonio Brown had it well covered. Vincent Reyes done a nice job on special teams. Showed him to the sideline. And the Steelers going to take over with 4:13 to go here in the half. Well, everybody in this division lost last week. It wasn't pretty for the Ravens, but it was their first win of the year over Cleveland. So it's hard to get a beat on this AFC North as you've watched a couple of samples from all the teams in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, everybody in the NFC East lost yesterday. So let this be a lesson to you, Mike. You don't know what's going to happen until right around Thanksgiving.
That's what Mike Tomlin was telling us yesterday. I signed up for this little adversity. It's okay. It's week 1. Staying steady is what the Steelers have long been about. Roethlisberger checks it down. Here's Isaac Redmond. Only a yard for Redmond. Terrence Newman, former Cowboy, joins Vontez Burfict on the tackle. You want to talk about a linebacker who's starting to make a name for himself. 55 in the stripes. Perfect.
And I like the fact that he can play on every down. He's 250 pounds. He can run and he can hit. And most of the time when he finds the man with the ball, he's not a real happy camper. Physical, run stuffer, has pretty good coverage ability. What a find for this Bengal organization.
After the gain of 1 is Roethlisberger. It's complete to David Paulson. Chased down by the man standing next to Burfict a whole bunch, Ray Maluga, in the middle.
Maluga, a good open field tackle. They re-signed Maluga in the offseason because he knows Mike Zimmer's defense. Does an excellent job seeing Paulson in the flat. There's nothing after the catch. Good one right there.
Roethlisberger pumps and throws a first down into Bengal territory with Emmanuel Sanders for 45.
Great job showing poise in the pocket. Cincinnati bluffed the blitz. Roethlisberger stood tall and threw a strike.
After the slow start, 2 of 8, Roethlisberger picking it up a bit. Vincent Ray in there at linebacker for the Bengals. Drake Kirkpatrick out there for Cincinnati as well. See if they attack him with Antonio Brown on that side. Roethlisberger throwing middle, and it's caught. And on the run, it's Sanders inside the 20, inside the 10. First and goal, Emmanuel Sanders.
Going to get to the 2-minute drill right here, but Ben Roethlisberger jumped the ball in a no-back set.
It's funny. He's trying to get him going here to not let him change personnel, but the 2-minute warning is there. Nothing you can do about it.
You'd make Ben Roethlisberger mad. He'll wake up this entire Steeler football team, and that's just what he did.
That was a 43-yard pass. Couple of back-to-back connections with Roethlisberger. Steelers knocking on the door of a tie game in Cincinnati. Steelers only had 1 touchdown drive in the Tennessee game. It came late as they were trying to rally from a big hole in week 1. Chance here to tie the game. Roethlisberger, after the slow start at 2 of 8. 6 of 7 since. And 2 back-to-back good completions on this drive with Sanders of 19 and 43 yards. Has them first and goal.
Derek Moy at the bottom of the screen, the big receiver out of Penn State, the man they like to throw the high fade to.
6'5", he's working on 5'11" Leon Hall. Roethlisberger goes that way for Moy. Got the feet down, holds on for the touchdown.
Saw that coming a mile away. What a drive by Ben Roethlisberger. And Derek Moy, the big receiver, on a little fly pattern to the back pylon, beats Leon Hall, and the ball's thrown perfectly. 3 strikes by Ben Roethlisberger to wake up the Steeler offense.
Best looking stretch of the first 6 quarters of the season. Scoring play, so has to be confirmed upstairs. Moy, who had an outstanding 3-year career at Penn State, 18 touchdowns. Gets his first in the National Football League as the extra point is added by Sean Sweeson. 5 of 5 on the drive for Roethlisberger. First NFL touchdown, Derek Moy. Trey Wingo in the studio. We'll have J.J. Watt with our soundtracks. Check the Gruden Grinder and more coming up at halftime. It is Tate on the return for Cincinnati, and he is met by Jarvis Jones, that first-round pick for the Steelers. Got his first NFL start tonight. Also on special teams and has made an impact. Had a couple of good special teams plays last week.
Pittsburgh special teams have taken it to the Bengals special teams. They've returned the ball. They've covered kicks. Cincinnati has committed a penalty in a kicking game. And this field position is not good for Cincinnati. And they got to be very careful with Dick LeBeau and the Steeler defense in a 2-minute obvious passing situation.
Danny Smith, who's the special teams coordinator with the Redskins for the last 8 years. First year with Pittsburgh. Doing a nice job so far. From the 15, see how the Bengals managed the 2-minute here this week. It was an issue last week. Catch by Green, gain of 7. Good start, and that's always important, John. You mentioned it many times in a 2-minute drill.
It'll be interesting to see Dick LeBeau communicating with Lawrence Timmons, number 94, who's wearing the green dot. He can hear the information from the sideline. Let's see him translate it to his teammates.
And Jarvis Green-Ellis with a run, and Timmons has a hold of him. Very close to that first down at 25. And he's got it. It seems, yes he does. They'll move the chains here with 1:08 to go.
Bengals don't seem to be in a big hurry, but
so with all 3 timeouts, continuing to keep it on the ground with Green-Ellis. 4 to the 29, and now Marvin Lewis will take timeout here with 48 seconds remaining. Step out. We We were telling you Toyota halftime with Trey Wingo, J.J. Watt, mic'd up for the Sunday soundtracks. We have Sunday Gruden Grinders this year. John's working on these Sundays. And your vote for the favorite Come On Man of Week 2. All coming up momentarily on the Toyota halftime. Each team 2 timeouts left. And Dalton, good job to pick up the twisting pressure by the line. Get it to Gresham, who gets out of bounds. Shy of the 40 for a first down.
Twist by the Steelers. When do you see a stunt like this? I'd like to draw it for you, but just watch these 4 Steeler linemen. How do you pass protect against that? What a great job for the most part by the Bengals, but
come on,
even when they rush 4, Mike, there's something creative to it.
You couldn't draw that?
I couldn't draw that stunt. Nice job by Gresham stopping the clock.
That was pretty neat. Whitworth, Bowling, Cook, Zeitler, Smith up front picking it up for the Bengals. Now Dalton hit as he throws. That pass is incomplete as once again Cameron Hayward makes an impact.
And they need that from Hayward, the former first rounder from Ohio State. They need some splash plays from the former Buckeye.
An empty hand coming through could be a reason to stop the game and look at it in the replay booth as he hit Hayward's helmet as he came back. See if they buzz down to take an extra look at that. They do not. 2nd and 10. The last 2, so all the challenges and replay reviews are initiated upstairs. Green's pulled out of bounds by Polamalu and Vince Williams. It'll be 3rd down with 28 seconds left.
A.J. Green working the sideline again against off coverage. Look at Polamalu come from inside out with help from rookie Vince Williams. Good pursuit to the football, limiting the yardage that A.J. Green can make after the catch.
It's 3rd and 3, and you get an offensive snap for Brandon Tate, mostly used on special teams. And against the 5-man rush, Dalton hit as he throws. Eifert's got it, first down. And Cincinnati with 22 seconds left. Now 21 gets the timeout.
How about that personnel that time by Cincinnati? No backs, 2 tight ends and 3 receivers, trying to take advantage of this short-handed secondary of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cortez Allen got hurt last week, but there's Gresham and Eifert. There's 3 receivers. There's no backs. They're trying to get as many of these Pittsburgh Steeler DBs on the field as they can, and that's a big first down. And with 23 seconds left, you have to think that Cincinnati needs to get to the 35-yard line to have some kind of a reasonable field goal opportunity.
10 runs, 28 first-half passes. The run-pass mix here for the Bengals, and the 28 attempts is a first-half high in the 34 games that Andy Dalton has played for Cincinnati.
You know, when I left the Oakland Raiders, I watched Bill Callahan take over for me
Thinking the
against
same
Pittsburgh.
thing.
I don't think he ran the ball one time. He says, Drew, why do you want me to run it?
Yeah.
He says everything's a 2 or 1 yard game. Let's throw it every snap. You're going to see a lot of that against Pittsburgh this year.
1st and 10. And Dalton taking a sideline shot. Green goes up to try to make a play. And Ike Taylor is right there defending.
You know, when you play 2 deep with Ryan Clark and Troy Polamalu and play man-to-man underneath, it's a hard living. And Ike Taylor, he ran that route for A.J. Green. What a great player. You call these Steeler defensive backs old. Every year they're getting too old. They're the best with a capital B. And I don't care what anybody tells me. I'd take Ike Taylor any day.
Taylor in his 11th year, Polamalu in his 11th, Ryan Clark the safety in his 12th year. Rare double-digit experience with 3 secondary starters. 16 seconds left as Dalton takes the deep shot. Uncatchable. As he roofed it out of bounds, down to 11 seconds left.
Well, Cincinnati needs to try to get 12 to 15 yards. And some kind of clock stoppage. Let's see what Jay Gruden has in store. He's got to try to find a pattern that works the sideline. But I might try somebody else other than Ike Taylor.
With that one timeout remaining. So the middle of the field's available as an option. Dalton surveys. That is complete. And I'll take the timeout with 4 seconds left as Benjarvis Green-Ellis makes the catch. And from here, a field goal will be 61 yards. Nugent edging out there, kind of begging for a shot at it.
Well, there's two thoughts here. You either throw the Hail Mary. I think we had a good one last year in week 2, Mike. Or you give Nugent a shot. I see these kickers bombing the ball in pregame warm-up. I saw Nugent knocking them through from 55, 60 yards.
Slight wind of about 8 or 9 miles per hour is working against him here. Nugent's career long is 55 that he made here for the Bengals last year. And the one thing about taking a shot downfield towards the end zone is you have A.J. Green. And I said it in the pregame on Monday Night Countdown. Mike Tomlin said to us yesterday, the one thing about Green is that when you throw it up there, the defensive back, he can make the play, but somehow, some way, that guy finds a way to come down with it. You can be right, and he can make you wrong.
And they never call offensive pass interference on this play. I don't care what Jerry Austin says.
It is 4th down. Should be the final play of the half. Jarvis Jones with the pressure. Dalton steps up, tosses it downfield, and almost coming down with it was Sanu. Incomplete, and the half comes to an end.
Going to be an exciting second half, but take a look at the play on the ball here. Sanu, number 12, is going to go up and have a shot at it, but guess who knocked it down?
Ike Taylor. Peeled off A.J. Green. Just able to get his hand on the hand of Sanu because Muhammad had 2 hands on that ball. That was close. Cincinnati gets the ball to start the second half, all tied at 10 as we join Trey Wingo, Toyota halftime. As we get set to start the third quarter. Look across from Kentucky over here to Cincinnati. Baseball Stadium, Great America on one side. And here Paul Brown Stadium, Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. So a lot of passes from the Bengals. You said you don't want to run up against a steel wall, truly, with this Steelers defense. But that last drive that Pittsburgh had, Joe, I think was very important. First time that the Steeler offense within the body of a game looked good and looked whole.
And we expected a game just like this. It's going to be low scoring. Pass protection by Pittsburgh was pretty good there at the end of the half as well. That's a good sign for this Steeler offense.
This is a situation where both teams are 0-1, as we said. So that fear of going 0-2 is so important. Historically and over the last 4 years, just in the short term, the 30 teams who started 0-2 have not made it to the postseason.
And so far, special teams are clearly in the Pittsburgh Steelers' favor. And Mike Tomlin, if he can win 2 out of 3 phases every week, he feels like his team is going to win. Cincinnati needs to get some blocks and set their offense up with some field position.
Steelers have played so well in this stadium that opened in 2000. They've won 10 of their last 11 here in Cincinnati. So Bengal fans are used to seeing the Steelers coming to their house and win. No return on the Sweezum kickoff, and here's Lisa Salters on the sideline.
Hey, Mike. Well, Mike Tomlin was very happy with the way that first half went. He said other than the turnover on the splash play, the Paulson fumble, he said this game is unfolding exactly like we thought it would. He said we are controlling the tempo. Offensively, we're dictating, and defensively, we've got to win the possession downs. Marvin Lewis, on the other hand, he wasn't happy with the Bengals' passing game in that first half. He told me we had some good runs on offense, but we just got to improve in the passing game. Mike?
Averaged 5 a carry on the 10 runs. Andy Dalton completed 50% of his passes. after the 28 of 33 performance week 1 in Chicago. And Jarvis Green-Ellis on the toss. We get about 3 yards. As Keon Wilson starts the second half with the first tackle of it. There are the rushing totals. And the Bengals had more yards, 1 or 2 big plays. Steelers only converting that 1 third down, but it helped sustain the drive that led to the touchdown. Steelers flag free, and the Bengals 4 penalties, 3 coming in that first quarter. Both teams have tough games next week. Packers come here to play Cincinnati. Chicago's in Pittsburgh, so whoever's 0-2 is going to really feel the pressure. Dalton taking off and brought down from behind, chased down by Lamar Woodley.
I like Lamar Woodley. He signed a big contract, $61 million. But with the addition of Jarvis Jones to go with Jason Worlds, at least Woodley gets some rest. And he's fresher now. And you see him run down quarterbacks. I saw him get a sack last week against the Titans. But that's an excellent job by Lamar Woodley staying alive.
It's a good point you make about Woodley and being able to get some rest. Cut back on his snaps last week. They played 86% of their snaps instead of the whole game. Pressured there by Woodley, and Dalton chased. The pass is incomplete. And Jarvis Jones got the second push after it started with Woodley.
Well, he plays outside linebacker in their base defense. He plays defensive end in their sub package, and Lamar Woodley's off to a great start in 2013. He's working against Andre Smith at right tackle, beat him to the inside. And if you knock a quarterback off his launching spot, not a good thing.
No, the lefty Kevin Huber will kick again. Eagles making sure they have all the protection set up front. Close to Huber, fair catch signal, 41-yard boot. Antonio Brown's got it at 22, 32. A little momentum here for the Steelers. The end of the first half, and the defense starting the second.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Tylenol, Dove Men Plus Care, care for what matters. Lexus, introducing a car designed with one purpose, to stand apart. The all-new 2014 Lexus IS. It's your move. And NFL.com Fantasy. It's not too late to sign up and play for free at NFL.com/fantasy.
Monday number 2 of the season here in Cincinnati, and our aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. Done a lot of nice work to the downtown area since we were last here 3 seasons ago. That area, the banks, right on the bank of the Ohio River, really is developed nicely. Steeler offense, good drive to end the second quarter. The ball's at the 37. When we went to break, it was at the 32. Illegal formation on the Bengals on the punt. 5 yards added from the fair catch spot. That's why they start at the 37. And don't get much farther as Michael Johnson comes up with the tackle of Isaac Redman.
Well, Pittsburgh doesn't have a blocking tight end. That time, Paulson got stuffed at the point of attack, and there's just nothing there. No huddle again, empty backfield set. This is where Pittsburgh made some money at the end of the first half.
And don't you think this is where Ben wants to be? No huddle?
Every down.
Toss, Antonio Brown. Terrence Newman reads it, snuffs it out. No gain.
I like this kid Newman as well. Veteran corner, long-time Dallas Cowboy. He's seen enough of these quick screens. He says, not right now. But defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer loves veteran players with a pedigree. And Newman has one.
Robert Gathers, defensive lineman, out for the rest of the game with an elbow injury for Cincinnati. 3rd and 10. Ben looking left. Buying time. Being Ben. Complete to the midfield, and it's a first down. And Brown gets it to the 30-yard line. 33 yards, but a flag is down.
Boy, this Roethlisberger, he can just kill you with some of the craziest plays.
interesting conversation with Chad Brown, the umpire, Mike Carey, the referee. Was it or was it not a foul?
Tripping. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty is for third down.
What a great job Pittsburgh did in pass protection. Geno Atkins got nowhere close to Ben Roethlisberger. They call Adams on a tripping call, or Marcus Gilbert. He's clearly upset.
And Steeler offensive line just reacted as they saw the replay. There's a hold of him there for sure for a brief second. And there you see his legs got in the way of Dunlap very unintentionally as he was paying more attention to Geno Atkins. Don't like that call.
I do not like that one either.
Erases a gain of 33, and now it's 3rd and 20. The four-man rush. Roethlisberger. Here he goes at it again. This time he's got space. And now it goes away. Twisted down. Michael Johnson and Geno Atkins would not stop their pursuit.
But you have to credit this Bengals secondary. We said it in the pregame. Plaster. The key word is plaster. When Roethlisberger starts scrambling, you have to hold your coverage in the back end. Just watch this Bengals secondary maintain their coverage and let the defensive linemen hunt. Excellent work down the field and an excellent job in the pit by the Bengal pass rush.
There's some big tired trees coming down to the ground after that.
I think Cincinnati caught a break on that tripping call, Mike.
So Mesco kicks the line of scrimmage zone 16. Flag is down. The kick is 52 yards. Tate gets hit by Shamarko Thomas initially, and then that gets cleaned up by some of the other young Steelers, Keon Wilson and Jarvis Jones. And flag was down as the Gunners were breaking down towards the punt.
During the kick, holding the receiving team number 40. From the end of the kick, 10 yards, they retain possession. First down, timeout.
It was on Sean Williams. I like this division. Nothing comes easy in the North. Game's tied at 10. What are we building a house here? Plaster. What are you talking about with plaster in football?
I told you, when Roethlisberger starts scrambling, you don't know how long you got to hold your coverage. But when he takes off, you better maintain your coverage and vision on a quarterback the best you can. It's a great job by Terrence Newman at the bottom of the screen. He's got to hold this coverage for almost 10 seconds while Roethlisberger's running all over the place looking for an open receiver.
And that's where the magic happens. Guys start running on their own at that point.
Hines Ward and Mike Wallace made a living taking it up.
Yeah.
And I just think it was the greatest thing that Roethlisberger did during those 2 Super Bowl seasons. Right. That's a nice job by the Bengals plastering to their man, and it gave their defensive line enough time to get it done. But Reggie Nelson, Terrence Newman, Adam Jones, they got a lot of veterans that understand Ben Roethlisberger. They see him enough.
Their first penalty by the Steelers, followed by the Bengals' first sack, really stopped any momentum that Pittsburgh may have been building. Giovanni Bernard with the carry for a couple of yards as Cincinnati gets our first down running.
I've been in games like this where everybody yells at you, run the ball more, run the ball more. So you run the ball and you get 2 yards and it's back to 2nd and 8. And here comes Dick LeBeau with fresh bodies. You have to be able to throw the football and pass protect to beat this Steeler defense. They are that good against the run.
After the gain officially of 3, it's Dalton throwing to his tight end Gresham. Jermaine Gresham to midfield and into Steeler territory for the first down.
That's Jermaine Gresham, a joker tight end playing split end. He runs a little spot route. He's going to sit down between zone defenders, catch the ball. You see the rookie linebacker, number 55, Keon Wilson, or the first-year Steeler, make a mistake. Nice job by Gresham after the catch.
Through the Ryan Clark tackle for a gain of 26. 5 minutes gone by in the quarter. Bernard up the middle. the 43-yard line. So you've been in a bunch of division rivalries where you know the people. How tough is this for Bernard and Eifert? This is their first time going up against the Steelers and the intensity of this division rivalry.
It's eye-opening. You hear about this rivalry all training camp, all throughout the offseason, and when you see those Steelers come out of the tunnel, your heart starts pumping, man. I guarantee you, those young guys are excited.
They've played well. Eifert had a big 61-yard reception on the opening touchdown drive. 2nd and 5. Dalton. This looked to be a design takeoff there, and he slides head first. And let's see. I don't know why we didn't have a whistle there initially. Thus will lead to the pushing.
That's a design quarterback draw. They're going to free release Bernard and try to get these linebackers to buzz into the...
Quarterback dove head first, then gave himself up. 3rd down.
Well, that's a head first dive. The spot should be better than the 40-yard line.
Look at this fullback, Mike, in a short yardage situation. This is the kind of fullback I'd like to run behind. Domata Peko. That's a big fullback. He's starting nose tackle.
This should have been a first down. This is a mistake on the spot because he dove head first. The place where he gave himself up was inside the 40, but they get the first down anyway with Peko getting away with one running for Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis.
It's an isolation off the left side. I wouldn't want to be an inside linebacker to see this big fullback coming at you. Nice work by Domata Peko. And Cincinnati doesn't have a fullback, Mike. And it's a big growing pain, I think, for Jay Gruden and this Bengal offense. They were a good 2-back football team last year. That's the first time I've seen Ben Jarvis run behind a fullback.
Tight end by nature, Orson Charles has been used in that role. Somebody's inactive tonight. Bernard with the waiting arms of Timmons. Only a gain of a couple of yards. I had a chance to talk to Timmons last night, 7th year out of Florida State. You think his coaching has been of good pedigree? Mickey Andrews, a legendary college football defensive coordinator. He played on his defense at Florida State, then comes to the NFL and he gets Dick LeBeau. He said, man, I've had it as good as anybody could have it for my last 11 years.
How about the legacy of linebackers they've had in Pittsburgh? Here's another one, Timmons. He can do it all. He can play inside or outside.
Inexperienced players next to him in Keon Wilson and Vince Williams tonight. The absence of Larry Foote. Read by Woodley. Slammed Dalton to the ground, but Gresham got a first down at the 26-yard line. Man, that is toughness for a quarterback hanging in there with that guy closing in on you.
You got to come out of these bootleg fakes and have the ball in a throwing position. And that is a vicious finish on a tackle by Lamar Woodley, but what a great play by Andy Dalton. You run those bootlegs, you must come out of the fake with the ball in a throwing position, and Jermaine Gresham continues to run hot after the catch. Great work.
The drive for Gresham. Good night for the Cincinnati tight ends. Going to be a lot of those. Dalton over the top. Bernard in space. Giovanni Bernard. Bengals take the lead.
If this kid comes through for Cincinnati, they could be a different offense. They have not had a pass receiving threat in some time. That time it's 4 verticals, all go. And we used to call it all go check down. If they stop 4 verticals, throw the check down. And some teams throw it to Darren Sproles and they go for 30 yards. And now Cincinnati has their own weapon. 2 touchdowns for the North Carolina Tar Heel. And A.J. Green threw a great block to help his rookie finish.
Extra point, Mike Nugent. Good job by the holder, Kevin Huber. Snap wasn't perfect, he got it down. Welcome to the division. Welcome to Monday Night Football. Giovanni Bernard, a 2-touchdown night. Doing that Houday thing here in Cincinnati. What they like to say about their Bengals, who lead 17-10. As they walk it down the field, 8 plays and 78 yards. Then Roethlisberger have to try and get his offense going again as they trail, which has been the story for most of the first 6.5 quarters for the Steelers this year. By Nugent, it will not be brought out by Felix Jones. Well, adding new young pieces, Eifert and Bernard have made game-impacting plays tonight. The rookies for Cincinnati, Andy Dalton was tough and strong on that drive to give his team the lead. Somewhere Dr. Johnny Fever's still hanging out there.
How do you think of that?
Remember WKRP in Cincinnati?
I sure do.
Les Nessman, one of the great newsmen of all time. 17-10. Bengals retake the lead. Defensive line missing Michael Johnson being evaluated for a concussion. Out for the moment for Cincinnati. Fake it to Brown. It's erased by Leon Hall. Nowhere to go for Sanders.
A lot of quick screens in this Steeler offense. Newman jumped one earlier in the third quarter. That time Leon Hall is all over it.
Loss of a yard. Steelers continuing to play without a huddle. And Isaac Redman remains the back. Velasco, the new center, has been solid so far. Pass complete to Brown, couple yards shy of the first down. With an Adam Jones tackle.
I like what Pittsburgh's doing. Put Ben Roethlisberger in charge. Let him have his no-huddle offense. Don't worry about running the football. They don't have a feature back. Le'Veon Bell is hurt. They don't have a blocking tight end. Let your two-time world champion quarterback get after the Bengals with what he does best.
2 to be a shotgun run. Redmond stopped. Maluga. And George Iloka from his safety spot caps it off. And the Steelers look like they will punt.
This is a one-back power play. They try to run behind their left guard, Ramon Foster, who's pulling. Double team. They're going to pull the backside guard, and not much movement. Great work by George Iloka.
We have an injured Bengal, John, at the bottom of that pile. And after Maluga got in there to make that stop, he did not get up. So the Cincinnati training staff out to look at him as it's 4th and a yard. Off under his own power, but going back to be evaluated by the athletic training staff. So it's 4th and 1, and yet another Zoltan Mesko punt. 6th of the night. Take to the sideline, 23-yard line, fair catch. A.J. Green, we talked about the star receiver coming in his battle tonight. How do you get to be good? It's some great DNA, but it's also some great work. I think it's some terrific camera work on this, giving you a sense of what the receiver sees and what the DB sees. John, when he's working the sideline, you see some of the magic that happens and the work that goes into getting ready to do this.
A.J. Green always looking for edge. I mean, you look past the defender. Don't look at the defender when you run an outside breaking route. But A.J. Green is always looking for ways to get better, and he's using a hero cam to see what he looks like when he runs these routes.
It was interesting to see the eyes and get that camera looking back into his helmet. Bernard, who scored the touchdown a moment ago, brought down by Kiesel. Gain of about 5. Here's Green working the sideline tonight.
There he is early in the game against Ike Taylor. Great release, nice job in transition, and a good catch. He's seen a lot of off coverage, and they've thrown some hitches in front of Ike Taylor. Not a lot to these particular patterns, but it's been a battle all night between two great players, A.J. and Ike.
Yeah, we appreciate A.J. wearing those cameras to get a look at that. And he loved looking at, you know, the players the way they are now. Any video they can see of themselves, they love. He really enjoyed watching his eyes and his work on the sideline on cue in front of Ike Taylor. Tackled by Polamalu. First down.
Great route, good timing pattern by A.J. Green. Outside breaking route. Nice catch, but watch who's coming from inside out. I'll tell you what. You better secure that ball and secure yourself against the Pittsburgh Steelers, because Polamalu is back.
At the 3-minute mark of this third quarter, it's been mostly Bernard in this half, with good reason. Giovanni Bernard.
This is a different speed than the Bengals have had. Got a penalty. I think it's coming back.
Yep. As he turned that right corner, the flag came down.
Holding. Offense number 84. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Let's see if the Bengals can keep from self-destructing. Last week against Chicago, they had some critical penalties. Keep an eye on Gresham, 84 at the top of the screen against Lamar Woodley. And Cincinnati's back to that 0-2-3 personnel, Mike. Let's see if you can get that one. 0-2-3.
John, that's no backs, 2 tight ends, and how many wide receivers?
That would be 3.
That's very good. Thank you.
No back set. Let's see if they can do something with Sanu, who's now in the backfield.
That's interesting. Remember, Sanu as a Wildcat threw a touchdown last year, and Andy Dalton has taken time out. The play clock running down, and 2:29 left here in this third quarter. Bengals, who used first and third quarter timeouts as much as any team last year, burned one here. But John, we've mentioned your brother Jay a bunch of times. He played good quarterback in his own right during the days at Louisville. There he is in high school, Chamberlain High School.
Yeah.
Terrific player. And then Louisville has set a whole bunch of records for the Cards. And then in Arena football, the Tampa Bay Storm, 4 Arena Bowl titles, won the Arena League MVP. Actually beat Kurt Warner in one of those Arena Bowl championship games. And how do you think his playing the position at a significant level has helped Andy Dalton's development in his first 2+ years?
Well, he really helps Andy, I think, with his mindset. You got to be mentally tough to be a quarterback. And Jay works a lot with Andy and how to deal with not only the media, but dealing with tough times. And I like the way Dalton's come back and played here in the third quarter.
Because this is one of those games that test that stuff. And you're 16 for 32 for the half, and you're fighting the Steeler defense. Gresham flags for the penalty earlier on this drive, gets the penalty yardage back, plus 1 or 2, as he gets to the 38-yard line.
The accumulation of knowledge is a powerful thing. That's the school that Jay Gruden came from, because that's the one I came from. And the accumulation of nothing is a powerful thing. So we were taught to go out and find some knowledge from somebody. Fortunately for both of us, we were able to get around some good people, learn some things, and have an opportunity to apply them.
And the whistle here, another penalty on the Bengals. 8 last week. Getting to that number here in 3 quarters this week.
There was no foul on the play. All of the action was legal. Second down.
Well, that's taking the political way out of that one, Mike.
You've talked about that movement from one side. Who caused it? Who induced the movement? Offense or defense on the line?
Hey, double.
So the Bengals will remain at 7 accepted penalties against them tonight. Just 1 for the Steelers. Steelers bring 5. It goes over to Sanu again. This time the pursuit from Brett Kiesel off the line along with Timmons limits the game to 2.
Well, he was a Gruden grinder before the game for good reason. He's 35 years old. He plays as hard as any big guy in this league. Watch him read this quick screen and run this play down laterally. I mean, he's running with linebackers and DBs. He's in the last year of his contract. He's like blocking a excavator. Powerful man, long arms, shed blocks. Makes a lot happen for his teammates, too.
And he's one of the few left, and Woodley, the gang of 2008, the last group to win a Super Bowl here in Pittsburgh. 3rd and 8. Dalton flushed by Woodley. Steps up, takes off, not going too far. Run down 5 yards shy of the first down. Clark got his helmet, and Dalton's got a word from Mike Carey on the way to the sideline.
A lot of different coverages, different fronts, different rushers, and different stunts. Knock Andy Dalton off the launching spot. Be careful of blind pursuit. What a rally and cap off by Ryan Clark. But Dick LeBeau, he can confuse the best of them.
Andy Dalton still very hot at Mike Carey. The referee for no flag there. It's 4th and 4. And here's a Kevin Huber punt. Caught at the 16-yard line by Antonio Brown. You're just tuning in here as we get to the top of the hour. This is an important game for Marvin Lewis and the Bengals, not just trying to avoid the 0-2 start. Just find a way to beat the Steelers here at home. They beat them in Pittsburgh last year, but they lost at home earlier in the season. They're trying to find a way, and right now the defense is getting the job done. -2 for the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger in the third quarter. And you know, John, absent the one drive that they scored the Derek Moy receiving touchdown, the Steeler offense looks a lot like the Steeler offense I watched last week lose to Tennessee at home.
Certainly does. And Vincent Ray is playing linebacker. Keep an eye on that new signal caller for the Bengal defense.
Malaluga went to the locker room at the end of the last drive. James Harrison also out there in the middle. As Roethlisberger is pressured, gets away from Michael Johnson and throws incomplete.
Ben Roethlisberger is like sacking an oak tree. Incredible pocket strength. How he gets out of some of these, I have no idea. Watch Roethlisberger drop straight back to pass. Michael Johnson has a clean shot at him. He has the playing strength unlike any other at the quarterback position.
We told you Johnson had gone in to be evaluated for the concussion, came back out on the field during that last drive, so he enters with a little bit of fresh legs as Malaluga's back with cramps in the locker room. 2nd and 10, likely the final play of the quarter. Ben putting it up for grabs. Nothing for Brown. End of the third.
First time we've seen James Harrison, the ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, on a blitz coming off Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger's right side. He forces Ben to abort it.
Steeler first down total in the third quarter, 0. Only score Giovanni Bernard for the Bengals, and after 3. Cincinnati 17, Pittsburgh 10 on Monday Night Football. Quarter number 4 from Cincinnati with John Gruden, Lisa Salters, and the rest of our Monday night team. Mike Tirico. Steelers trail by 7, facing 3rd and 10. It was Taylor Mays who started near the line of scrimmage and ran back towards a deeper safety spot. The pressure comes from the right as Roethlisberger throws incomplete. There's some nice disguise there, John. By having Mays out there almost in a linebacker spot, they can disguise where their safeties come from.
They came with a blitz to the wide side of the field. They overloaded the Steeler protection. Pittsburgh picked it up, but there was nowhere to go. Both of these defenses have a lot of junk in their trunk, Mike. They can call a lot of defenses with a lot of different coverages and great disguises.
Punt number 7 for Zoltan Mesko. Back of the 31, Brandon Tate. Jarvis Jones, the other rookie linebacker, Keon Wilson, makes the stop at the 36-yard line. 51 on the kick by Mesko and a return of 4. We've had a bunch of close games here the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. It's the 32nd game. 22 of the first 31 games decided by 7 or fewer, a record for the first couple of weeks of the season. And we're right in that window again here tonight in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's done a nice job running the ball to the tight end away from the 2 receivers. Expect a run down here to the bottom of the screen.
Bernard will cut it back out of the tackle by Jones and get 2 yards.
Bengals have had much better balance between the run and the pass here in the second half. For the most part, they've been in some second and manageable situations.
19 times, or 20 times, I should say, for 86 yards here tonight. Dalton has some time, and over the middle, he has Sanu at midfield. And a lot of the conversation coming into this year, is there a number 2, a complimentary wide receiver to go with A.J. Green? Well, Sanu and Jones have made a step up this year.
Get the running game going. Jay Gruden has some nice play-action passes. You see 94 Timmons jump on the fake. They throw the ball right in behind him. You get a good running game going. There's some spots in any zone defense. Nice work by Sanu.
Pressure up the middle, and Dalton works the sideline with Green, tied up by Taylor, and it'll be a gain of 5 as those two continue their battle.
Cross dog blitz. This is a Steelers special. They love to come right up the middle at Andy Dalton. He's not a real mobile quarterback. They get one-on-one coverage on the outside, and A.J. Green runs another timing square out.
Well, Dalton's hit his last 8 passes, John, and you look how he's spreading it around. That's multiple receivers, too. 2 to running backs, 9 between the tight ends, Gresham and Eifert. But Sanu and Green each have 5, so a great way to attack this Steeler defense by spreading it around. Pressure coming now. Dalton putting it up, and Green does not get on the same page as Dalton, and the pass is incomplete.
That's unfortunate. Andy Dalton saw the blitz. The Steelers come with everybody. He audibles, and A.J. Green doesn't get it. It's 4 across because there's an all-out blitz coming, and at the bottom of the screen, A.J. Green doesn't get the audible. Those are mistakes that have to be cleaned up to become a great offense. And Dick LeBeau can confuse the best of them. We've said that before.
Dick LeBeau turned 76 last Monday night. They have dialed up on 3rd and 5 for the Bengal offense. Dalton had the protection, and he's got Jones on the sideline. First down inside the 30. In a 50 flag down in the middle of the field. This is over where Gresham was running a route. Polamalu was one of the defenders.
There's no foul for illegal contact. The ball is completed on the other side of the field. First down.
Nice pass protection by this Bengal offensive line when they need it the most. Gives Dalton an opportunity to finish a throw and throw a strike to Jones versus Gay.
Andy Dalton on his way to a 50 pass attempt night. Once again, John, as you like to point out, it's the 0-2-3 personnel with no backs, 2 tight ends, and 3 receivers. They tried to get to this before and had to bail out of it. It's Sanu in the game, and they give it to him, and it becomes a gain of 4. So explain why you do that and why it works.
Well, when you go to that 0-2-3 personnel, you get a soft Pittsburgh Steeler deployment. They bring in nickel and dime defenders. There's some better looks to run against. That's what Cincinnati's trying to do with that call, but they got to get it in a little bit quicker. They almost ran out of time. Crunch time for the Steeler defense. Expect pressure and a lot of it.
Brett Kiesel, the veteran on that defensive front, over on the sideline with his 2nd down run. That's Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. What a great player to have late in the game when you're trying to salt away and succeed, because he is so good at protecting the ball.
He certainly is, and he's a workhorse back. Last year, he carried it over 25 times in 4 different games. And 3rd down and 2. This is where Cincinnati loves to take shots to A.J. Green against one-on-one coverage, and guess who's got him?
Ike Taylor again. 3 tight ends for the Bengals. And they'll run with Green Ellis, who's very close to the first down. It'll be spot dependent as the head linesman, Mark Baltz, walks in. Got it, first down.
Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, he is an excellent short yardage runner. He knows what he needs He runs behind his pads. North-south decisive runner. Well done.
In 3rd and 1, he's been one of the best in the league over the last 5 years. 1st and 10. Right back to Green Ellis. Here's the 15-yard line.
It's interesting, Jay Gruden calling the plays against Dick LeBeau. A field goal makes it a 2-possession game. You want to be careful with your play selection. Obviously, you like to get 7, but with all this running, I wouldn't be surprised to see Andy Dalton have one more play-action pass in him.
This will be play 9 of this Bengal drive that started back at the 34. Green Ellis coming to the left. Twisting tackle by Vince Williams, that 6th-round rookie out of Florida State. He's making his NFL debut here tonight.
A lot of tight ends from these Bengals in this game plan. And here comes Giovanni Bernard, number 25, on a critical 3rd and 4. Bernard has 2 touchdowns. Last time he was in here, Mike, they spread him out. They ran a draw play. He creased them. But Bernard's got to be ready to pick up a blitz.
7 on the play clock. 3rd and 3. Flag is down for the offside as Dalton throws over the middle. It's incomplete. I think it was Woodley's left foot as he got started, got caught in the neutral zone. And if that's the case, it'll give the Bengals 1st and goal. Mike's getting the number. I think it's 56.
Offside. Defense number 56. 5-yard penalty enforcement results in a 1st down.
That's frustrating. Mike Tomlin, his best defender, Lamar Woodley's clearly offsides, bottom of the screen. Got to key the ball, and Cincinnati's going to run the ball here, Mike. Continue to milk that clock.
That was closer than it looked as he was leaning and starting to go, and then kind of got himself stopped. 1st and goal inside the 9 for the Bengals. And Green Ellis hit Ziggy Hood, the former 1st rounder, last pick of the 1st round in 09.
Ziggy, he hadn't missed a game in 4 years. Every yard you run for against Pittsburgh, well-earned yard. And Cincinnati with 3 tight ends now. Alex Smith, Gresham, Eifert. And if they isolate A.J. Green at the top of the screen, it'll be he and Ike Taylor.
You got the size down here with Eifert at the bottom of the screen. He's 6'6". But the coverage is off on Eifert.
They're going up top.
There it is. A.J. Green. Can't pull it down. 3rd down.
And Ike Taylor. He's been waiting for that one. Andy Dalton with a subtle hand signal. He goes to his best against Pittsburgh's best on Monday Night Football. People forget how big Ike Taylor is. He's no small corner.
6'2". Following A.J. Green all night. So here comes 3rd down. You're in field goal range, approaching the 8-minute mark with a pretty anemic-looking Steeler offense. 4-man rush. Dalton will throw. Now a look. Deflected by Brett Kiesel.
Kiesel. That's going to be a touchdown for Cincinnati, but Brett Kiesel gets the 2nd batted down pass for this Steeler front tonight. Dalton escapes to his left. I think Jones is going to come open on the back line, but Brett Kiesel does an excellent job showcasing his athleticism. You got to like him.
Yeah, long drive. The Bengals have run 30 more plays than the Steelers. Kiesel's been out there for a lot of them, and the 35-year-old comes up with a big play. Mike Nugent on for the 25-yarder. Made a 41 earlier. And a guy who grew up a Bengals fan not too far from here in Centerville, Ohio. Knocks it through. 20-10 Bengals.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Rush, from director Ron Howard and based on the incredible true story. Rush, in theaters September 27th. ESPNShop.com, where you can get all of your official NFL sideline gear. And Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars and find the best deal on Autotrader.com.
200 years, Riverboat's been a big part of Cincinnati, working the Ohio. BB Riverboats continuing that tradition. Gave us a nice little ride in that shot here outside of Paul Brown Stadium. Somebody needs to make a big play for the Steelers. Down 10. And not much time to go. Felix Jones might get a return out of this one from about 3 yards deep. Right to that sideline and well covered along that sideline. Taylor Mays starts it up. And it's a long field for Ben Roethlisberger. You know what? It's been a long night for Roethlisberger. Only out there 40 plays, taking a beating. And his team in a 10-point hole with a half a quarter to go. That long drive by Cincinnati added to this lopsided offense. It's only been 40 plays in 3 quarters for the Steelers. They just can't sustain offense tonight and in the first 2 games. Roethlisberger with the throw and is deflected by Leon Hall. It was a step away from an interception.
Boy, he's a good football player. You play this old-fashioned Tampa 2 coverage, your nickel corner is going to get some great breaks on the ball. In the slot, you're going to see Leon Hall on your right side come from inside out, almost intercept that pass.
Second and 10, Roethlisberger. There's an opening to Conchery. The 38-yard line, first down, gain of 20 for Jericho.
Well, that time they faked the quick screen. Conchery bluffs as if he's going to block, and he's wide open between the corner and his safety. Nice play calling and adjustment by Todd Haley.
It took a quarter and a half, but the Steelers get a first down. They've only done that on about a third of their drives here in the first 2 games. Here comes a blitz, picked up. Roethlisberger taking a shot downfield. It's caught, but out of bounds by Emmanuel Sanders, who is with Terrence Newman, step for step.
Cincinnati comes with the blitz. Roethlisberger read it. He knew he had one-on-one coverage. They're going deep to Emmanuel Sanders. It's the 3rd time this year they've gone deep to Sanders, and so far, they're 0 for 3. They need a big play from one of these speedy wide receivers in a hurry.
Got one down, never got the second one down. See the new center Velasco helping organize which way they're going to block on 2nd and 10. And we have movement up front. Pointing towards David DeCastro, the guard.
A lot more debates over these false starts and encroachment penalties than I've ever seen.
I can almost read Mike Carey's lips. Who did we have first?
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 96 jumped into the neutral zone, causing a reaction by the offense. 5-yard penalty is still 2nd down.
You say Carlos Dunlap's move in, forced DeCastro to move out.
Makes it a much more manageable 3rd down. Competition committee's got to look at some of these plays.
It does seem to be happening more often in games.
It isn't the games I've covered with you, Mike.
So we sit and watch all the games on Sundays. It's 1 or 2 per game. You get the ball marked in the proper place. It was a bit short of the 5 yards. That's in the right spot. Fans are on the officials. And it's 2nd and 5. Roethlisberger hit as he throws. Good high catch brought in by Conchery into Bengal territory and a first down. As we get to the 7-minute mark. And Michael Johnson keeps getting to Roethlisberger about a half second after Ben releases.
That's a nice jerk route by Jericho Cotchery. Remember, the Steelers need a score. Could be a field goal or a touchdown. It's a two-possession game. Here comes Cincinnati with more double A-gap pressure.
To either side of the center, the A-gap. The Bengals love to bring the heat from. This time they bail out of there as Roethlisberger throws complete. And David Paulson hangs on at the 35. He had a key fumble rumbling downfield in the first half.
It's time for this Cincinnati Bengal defense to step up. They were unable to stop Chicago in key situations last week. This time, just a seam route by Paulson. Maluga overran it. There's nobody underneath, and that's too easy.
Adam Jones coverage bottom of the screen with Antonio Brown.
Bottom of the screen.
Ben pumps right, goes deep, and turning up with Sanders too late, incomplete.
When you look in this Bengal defensive huddle, they don't have a lot of pure linebackers that belong in the nickel defense. They lost Emmanuel Lemure in the preseason for the season. So they have Vontaze Burfict and Ray Maluga. They've tried Taylor Mays, they've tried James Harrison, and clearly Ben Roethlisberger is trying to expose Burfict and Maluga in space on this drive.
Second and 10, they bring pressure from the right. Ben got rid of it quick. He knew it was coming, and he found Sanders working underneath. 2 yards shy of the first down. We have third down coming up.
It's big-time quarterback play. It's a sight adjustment. Blitz is going to come off the right side. Antonio Brown adjusts his route to a slant. Roethlisberger's all over it. Great work by Roethlisberger and Antonio. That's Emmanuel Sanders playing on the weak side. Good work.
That's interesting, John. Terrence Newman was very slow to get up. He's jogging towards Sanders at the top of the screen. Let's see if they go after the veteran Newman or if he was just trying to stall and kill some time. It's 3rd and 2 in field goal range. Roethlisberger firing middle off the hands of Cotchery into the hands of Nelson. Interception.
Reggie Nelson ended Pittsburgh's season last year with an interception in Pittsburgh. And that one is a deep wound. Great play by Reggie Nelson.
They come up with some high passes in this drive. Cotchery was just behind him. Nelson was waiting. Comes up with the pick. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers 5 minutes away from going to 0-2, which is rare air for the Steelers of late, and for Tomlin specifically. Andy Dalton, the Bengals take over from the 13. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis for a yard. Let's go back to the interception. Reggie Nelson comes up with it.
Ball's thrown high. It's tipped by Cotchery and a diving play by Reggie Nelson, who's really had a nice career here in Cincinnati, the former Jacksonville Jaguar. I'm surprised Pittsburgh didn't take a quick timeout there. They've got to get the ball back as quickly as possible. They have all 3 timeouts left. I would not let Cincinnati milk this clock one more second.
Back to the dependable Green Ellis. The yards towards the 27. The Steelers will take their first of 3 timeouts here at 4:04 in the 4th. The one the Steelers have to get a stop here on 3rd down. When we come back. And that Sports Center already underway on ESPN2. Full post-game coverage from here when we are done. It is 3rd down for the Bengals. Steelers have 2 timeouts left. They're down 10 with 4:04 to go. And John, see, Domata-Pecco's back in the game.
They don't have a fullback. Very difficult on an offense when you don't have a fullback in these situations, but Domata did it the last time.
It is 3rd and 6. Pecco cleared the way, and Green Ellis, after contact, gets the first down.
That is an impressive play. Watch Domata Peko. They stick him in late. They hide his substitution, and watch this. How about Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis? An excellent traffic runner. Very good closer. He did it a long time in his career.
I'm glad you used the word closer, John, because in this style of football that's so spread out and wide open right now, it's difficult for teams. They don't have the personnel necessary to line up in close games, and Green Ellis gives you that with Peko staying in there, the defensive lineman. This time they get around him and make the play. Steve McClendon, who replaced Casey Hampton, the 12-year nose tackle, who is no longer with the Steelers, not with any team, as a matter of fact. McClendon makes the play. It's a timeout taken. Peko trying to fire up the fans. Here with 3:14 to go. Pittsburgh, one timeout left. Next Monday night, we go out to Denver. 2 games, 9 touchdown passes. Peyton Manning and Terrell Pryor, the old Buckeye, leaving the silver and black against the machine that is Manning.
Peyton Manning. I love having him on Monday Night Football. But how about Terrell Pryor? Raiders are 1-1, but Peyton Manning, I've never seen him do it better, and he's loaded with talent.
Yeah, the Broncos offense again against the Giants, so strong yesterday, building the big lead. You go back to what they did the opening Thursday night against Baltimore. And that comfort that Manning didn't have coming off the injury last year. Add the new personnel, tight end Julian Thomas, and of course Wes Welker out there. What a difference it's all made. Green Ellis trying to stay in bounds, hold on to the ball, and while doing all that, drags it out to the 29. Whitworth and Polamalu get tangled up, and it continues to the sideline and brings flags. And it continues here. Now the Bengals extended the final possession for the Bears with over-aggressive play after the whistle last week, and we'll see where this flag goes at 3:04.
It just stops the clock. That doesn't help Cincinnati.
Offset him here.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 56 in the dead ball spot. Automatic. First down, 15 yards.
Well, they've been very conscious about not giving the, oh, by the way, out the back door offsetting penalties. Pin it on one side or the other for keeping it going, and they finger Woodley there. That gives Cincinnati a first down and just about takes care of it.
I thought Cincinnati showed some good composure. You talk about this every year when you install the 4-minute offense. Keep your composure. You know the defense is going to try to jostle the ball out of there. There's going to be after the snap confrontations, but usually for the Bengals, Andrew Whitworth is at the bottom of one of them.
And you have to credit the officials because they've been asked to not just go with the offsetting fouls, find the offending party who started it, and clearly it was Woodley coming into the pile and the shove on Whitworth as Whitworth stayed entangled with Polamalu. 3:04 to go, and Green Ellis goes up the middle. Steelers only down to 1 timeout. You see Ike Taylor being scolded by Chad Brown. Whitworth trying to fire up these Bengal fans. As he comes off the field, his return was a lot of the emotional return to this team. You know, John, this is a very frustrating time for the Steelers. They're not used to this. Opening 0-2, and Mike Tomlin certainly not used to that. And as I said, they have Sunday night with the Bears coming in. Then they go to London to play the Vikings, so it's not easy. And Mike Tomlin's team, if they don't come back, will open 0-2. And as you saw, he has never coached a team that's been 2 games below 500 during a season.
Holding. Offense number 84, 10-yard penalty, second down.
And just the perspective on that stat with Tomlin going 2 games under 500 in a season. At any point, only 2 individuals have ever gone farther into their NFL head coaching career without going there. George Halas, George Allen. So it's been a long time since you've had a guy get started with this good a run and not go to a couple games below 500.
I think more important than that is how good are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost 4 out of 5 last year at the end of the season. Don't forget, they lost all 4 preseason games, and they're 0-2 now. They haven't won a lot of games recently. And this is a what have you done for me recently business. That is one thing I do know.
Right here. If they don't come back, they will have lost 11 of their last 13. I know 4 of the preseason games, but just that feeling of winning football, which we're so used to. Polamalu and company jump toward the back and get Green Ellis behind the line of scrimmage as we hit the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes here in Cincinnati, down 10. Tomlin and the Steelers staring at 0-2. We'll have Sports Center here on ESPN as soon as we're done. Susie Colbert and company on the sideline. We'll have the GMC postgame. We'll talk to the stars of the game. Bunch of injuries, including Ray Rice with that hip here in this division, the AFC North. We'll check you on that. And week 2 in the books, so we'll show you the best stuff that happened through the first 32 games here of the season. Top NFL plays week 2 coming up with Sports Center after the game. The 3rd and long coming up, and John, I mentioned Polamalu getting in the backfield. It's a vintage Troy Polamalu trying to, as you showed us at the very beginning, time a snap, get back there and cause havoc.
Watch him. He's going to try and time this count, jump over one of the guards, and knock this ball loose. Here he is at the bottom of the screen.
In formation, stays out on the outside. Green Ellis running to the 39-yard line. And the final timeout taken by Pittsburgh with 1:52 remaining.
Watch the effort. I mean, are you kidding me?
Wow.
People say that this Steelers secondary is getting old. Unbelievable effort. What a competitor.
It's, as I said before, one of the first things you said, there's pride with guys like Clark and Taylor and Kiesel and Polamalu. These are the players who were around for the Super Bowl championships, and there are very few of them left. And Roethlisberger is one of the few on the offensive side. And they heard a different tone from Mike Tomlin this week. It was a little bit more direct from Mike Tomlin because Lamar Woodley's heard this song and dance when they lose. But a lot of the young players, and that's what this team's made up of now, the core are young players, and they don't know what it's like to face this adversity and come back. So Mike tried to deliver a very direct message to them this week. Number 11, Marcus Wheaton with some speed trying to come off the edge at the bottom of the screen as they try to block the punt by Huber. And the lefty gets it away, turns it over, and Antonio Brown turns away. And let's see, out of bounds or a touchback? Touchback. Bounce to the other side of the pylon. So with 1:43 left, John, here are the numbers for Roethlisberger. Just over 50%, but what's not seen in those numbers, the beating he took again.
Unbelievable beating. Doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but he got knocked to the ground a lot by numerous Bengals. They just don't have any balance yet this season in their running game. Their offensive line a little better tonight, but they've got a long way to go.
They have 16 rushes for 44 yards tonight. And the Steelers are in just about as bad a running spot as they've been in years. 75 rushing yards in their first 2 games. Number 20, Roethlisberger gets it to Isaac Redman. Out of timeouts, he tried to get to the sideline. Terrence Newman wouldn't let him there.
Michael Johnson just ran right over Adams, the left tackle, and knocked Adams into Roethlisberger.
Pal, he's been doing that all night.
He really has.
Johnson's been, like I said, a half second away from a sack on about a half dozen pass attempts. They give him help this time with a tight end to block. Downfield shot is incomplete, trying to get it to Sanders. And again, Newman's in the way.
That time is Wallace Gilberry knocking Roethlisberger to the ground. A lot of high draft choices in this Pittsburgh offensive line. Adams is a 2nd-round pick. Gilbert is a 2nd-round pick. DeCastro is a 1. Ramon Foster, the left guard, has been in the Super Bowl. Just because you're getting younger doesn't mean you're getting better.
Third and 4. It'll be a first down underneath Antonio Brown. Shy of the 35. Powerless to stop it with a buck to go.
Let's keep the ball in front of you if you're Cincinnati and protect the sideline.
There's two deep safeties to try to prevent a deep shot down the field, which the Pittsburgh desperately needs here with time running out. And Roethlisberger completes it. Kotchery at the 34-yard line. And the sprint is on to spike the ball.
Gonna kill it.
After a gain of 31, Rays in place and stop with 23 seconds.
Got to throw it towards the end zone or consider kicking a field goal.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, John. This is always the spot where if you can get another 6 or 7 yards and get out of bounds, you could consider kicking the field goal because it might be better odds.
I would. You've only got 23 seconds. You've got to score twice. This is going to be a Hail Mary to the bottom of the screen.
High snap from Velasco. Pocket is pushed by Geno Atkins. And Roethlisberger just gets rid of it toward Paulson, incomplete.
This is a max protection. They're keeping everybody in. They're chipping these ends, and they forget about Geno Atkins. Every one of these Cincinnati Bengals has had their moments tonight, but DeCastro's no match for Geno Atkins on that play. And now James Harrison tries to come in and get one shot at his former quarterback. He'll rush from the bottom of the screen against Adams.
One of the storylines, but not the impact, as Harrison continues to try to find a space to work in this defense. But it would be a unique exclamation point if he gets there here. They're just holding him, not going to let him get there. Roethlisberger fires. It's caught by Brown. 9 seconds left at the 16-yard line. And this is just cosmetic now. Clock goes to 0. And Mike Carey says that's it. It's over. And the Bengals get their first win of the season. And the Steelers fall to 0-2. James Harrison with a lot of his former Steeler teammates and the appreciative handshakes. So the Steelers, only the 5th time in the last quarter century, start 0-2. It's the first time it happened since that 0-2 season, but they did rally then to make the playoffs. But of late here in the NFL, as we've said over the last 4 years, the 0-2s end the season at week 17. 20-10 our final score here tonight as the Bengals do something they don't do very often lately. Beat Pittsburgh here at home. We'll see you next week from Mile High. Peyton Manning and the Broncos against the Raiders. With John Gruden, Lisa Salters, and our great Monday Night team, Mike Tirico. So long from Cincinnati. Sports Center coming up next with full recap.